Hello everyone, and welcome to the Astro Consciousness channel. I'm Millie, and I am here to give you your forecast for the week of May 19th through the 25th. In this channel, we talk about the astrological energy of the week ahead and how you can integrate it into your personal and spiritual growth. So, I have to say that this upcoming week is one of my favorite weeks. It is a week full of not just potential, but it is a call to action. Um, and it not feeling forced, but actually feeling excited, right? It is a great week for new ideas. It's a great week for signing contracts, creativity, having meetings, having interviews. It is a great weekend ahead for dates, like date night, something fun with people that you love. So I'm really excited to talk about it. But in order for us to truly take advantage of it and understand what's happening, let's recap a little bit of what I would say the last 2 weeks have been about, right? I won't take too long, but I think it's important to mention the tension that we have felt the last 2 weeks. And I think all of that tension really revolved around the full moon in Scorpio, right? That full moon in Scorpio was everything, which was on May 11th, I believe. Yes, no, 12th. It was on May 12th. And the week leading up to that full moon and this week after that full moon, a lot of things were made clear. A lot of things came to the surface, right? That perhaps we were trying to avoid looking at, or perhaps too difficult to look at. But it was that difficult truth that promises to, as I mentioned before, set you free, to liberate you, to take advantage of weeks like the one coming up. Really, what that full moon in Scorpio is showing you, and I think it will continue to um, is anything that is draining you, causing you chaos, anything that is taking your life force away in some way, shape, or form, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Right? And if the answer is no, and you are in a position of, but I still can't do anything about it just yet, do not underestimate the power of decision. Because once you accept something within you, no, that situation is not worth my life force, and I decide that I am not going to remain in it. As soon as you make that decision, the universe begins to conspire for you to find other ways, other avenues, a way out of that and into something much more expansive, right? And so here we're not just talking about something that takes up too much of your time or just a lot of work. We're talking about something that takes your life force away, right? Something that after you do it, you feel drained. Something that after you spend time with someone or in a place, you feel absolutely drained instead of joyful and full and fulfilled or supported, right? Look, 2025 is just the year that's going to make things clear. What used to work before is not what's going to continue working. The old methods, the old ways of doing life are probably not going to be the ways that we are going to continue doing life. And that full moon in Scorpio brought a lot of information. You're probably still processing it, making decisions around it, and that's okay. So that energy still takes us into the week of May 19th through the 25th. So we start the week off Monday and Tuesday with the sun getting ready to leave the sign of Taurus, right? And so the sun the sun in Taurus has been there for, a month now. And it has shown us a lot of things. It has brought us face to face with the reality of this is what needs to be done differently. This is how I need to manage my finances differently. My values are different. I don't want to continue moving through life in this way. And because it's an earth sign, a lot of it has to do or has had to do with actual decision making, not, I'm thinking about it, I'm feeling into it, I'm going to wait and see what happens. No. Taurus energy, earth energy brings what are you going to do about it? And there have been a lot of definitive conversations, definitive decisions of, yes, this is what I want. No, this isn't what I want. And there's something refreshing about that because we know where we're headed when we understand and when we're clear within ourselves. So the first 2 days of the week, we're getting ready for the sun to leave the sign of Taurus. There's a lot of clarity. And as it leaves, it creates a beautiful sextile to Saturn and Pisces at 29 degrees. Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, commitment, maturity, growing up, it is the planet of saying, I am solely, fully responsibility for myself, for my well-being, not because I am a selfish person, but because it is responsible, right? The responsible thing to do, to be responsible for myself, so that I, as a whole human being, can go and relate to another, hopefully whole human being within themselves. That's really the energy of Saturn. And so what that calls in, or that what that invites us to do is to mind how we're feeling, how certain situations are making us feel. Are we pointing the finger and saying that person is making me feel that way? Well, the fact of the matter is that no one can make you feel any way without your permission. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, especially in the codependent world that we live in. But the thing that Saturn promises is that when you understand the fundamental truth of no one can make you feel any way that you don't allow them to, you begin to look within yourself. There's an introspection that happens. Why does that trigger me? What in me perhaps feels that what that person is saying is true? Or what is that reflecting within me, right? This doesn't mean that we put up with certain circumstances. And the fact of the matter is that when we take full responsibility for where we are and what things mean to us, situations mean to us, we are better equipped to have different conversations, to handle situations differently, not because we take on the entire responsibility of something, but we take responsibility for our 100%, right? So that's Saturn in Pisces, and the sun in Taurus is connecting to that one last time. This is important because when the sun represents our ego, our identity, our vitality, how we show up in the world. In Taurus, it's saying, you now know what you need to do. Things have been made clear to you. You now know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, who's going to do what, who's not going to do what, right? And the sextile to Saturn is take responsibility for your part because Saturn is going to move into Aries by the end of the week, and I'll talk about that in a second. On a more practical perspective, and more practical approach of this entire week with the sun sextiling Saturn. Great week to, like I said earlier, sign contracts, make agreements, ask for your worth if you are negotiating, right? It is your responsibility to advocate for yourself, for your finances, for your well-being, all Taurus themes. It is a great week to have serious conversations around something where you are showing up for yourself, where you are showing up with a much more decisive type of energy. And it is also a great week to commit yourself to something new. If it's a little bit more practical, like, I don't know, a new meal plan or a new exercise regimen, to commit yourself to going to bed earlier. Anything that has to do with structure, with something that you have to show up for time again and again and again, that's really beautiful. Now, because of the energies of Taurus and Pisces, we're not talking about punishing yourself, judging yourself. We're not talking about harsh, uh, commitments that are actually, again, going to drain you, but that are actually going to kindly support you. I say that because a lot of times, if we set the intention to do something new or to create a new habit, a lot of people tend to want to create 5 new habits. And that's not possible, right? It's not sustainable over time. It's one thing at a time. So, how is life this week asking you to show up practically? What are the practical decisions that you know you need to make for your well-being in the long run? And how do those decisions show you how you are committing and taking responsibility for yourself, the structure and the foundation of your life? Okay. It's such empowering energy that doesn't come with force because sextiles in the zodiac are an invitation. And so, if there is an invitation from the cosmos right now asking, what do you want to commit to? What do you want to devote yourself to? Because we have clarity that we hadn't had before, this is a beautiful time to begin to create a different type of reality for yourself. Okay. On Tuesday, later on in the day, the sun actually leaves the sign of Taurus and enters the sign of Gemini. Okay. So we begin Gemini season. We begin a season of exploration, of curiosity. We begin the season of lightness, of communication, the season that invites us to not hold on to things too tightly. Okay, so how does this go from Taurus to Gemini? So in Taurus season, again, a lot of things became clear. We probably made new commitments. For a lot of people, it was like new commitments or rearrangements around their finances and money, right? The sun in Gemini invites you to, if you're feeling stressed about it, if you are feeling a little anxious about it, that you allow for a different outcome to be true for you, that you allow for a different possibility, for different solutions, right? Remember, Gemini in the zodiac is the sign that reminds us of options, of possibilities, of different ways. So how are we using that? Because we can use Gemini season to imagine 100 worst case scenarios, or we can use Gemini season to tap into our imagination and ask ourselves, what is the best case possible? What is the best case scenario? How easy can this actually be? Spirit, Source, God, show me what I'm not seeing. Show me how easy this can be. Show me, bring me a solution. Gemini is beautiful in that way because, again, it reminds us of possibilities beyond what we have in front of us. And who here at any moment in their life hasn't needed a different perspective, a different possibility at some point in their life, right? Lean into that because the the flip side to this is that Gemini energy just creates more anxiety, more questions, more, like I mentioned a few moments ago, worst case scenarios. And that is not where we are at right now. I think that considering what 2025 is, it's all happening for us. We are always supported. We just have to be mindful of where our mindset is, what we're giving time, energy, and attention to. And again, that is our responsibility. Okay. So on May 21st, we don't really have much going on, but on May 22nd, we have Venus and Aries create a trine to Mars and Leo. This trine is active all week. It perfects on the 22nd, Thursday, May 22nd, but it's active all week. When Venus and Mars are getting along in a trine, they are in the same element, especially fire signs. This is a creative time. This is time to take advantage of our left brain, right brain, of embodying the healthy feminine, healthy masculine. And what does this look like in a practical way? What are the decisions that I'm making and are they aligned for my highest good? or for my highest good as I know it to be now. We're not aiming for perfection, we're aiming for alignment. And alignment starts with making decisions around what feels honest and true for you in accordance to how you want to live your life at this moment in time, right? So Venus in Aries is courageous, is daring, is it especially coming out of retrograde and coming out of a shadow, right? Is saying, well, what do I dare to do? Right? And having like this confidence, this Aries confidence of what is meant for me will not pass me. What is meant for me is already out there. So how do I remain open and joy to be receptive, right? Venus to this new chapter in my life, Aries. The trine to Mars in Leo is again having the confidence, having a little bit of the I've got this. I'm a badass, right? I'm a badass at what I do. That's the beauty of fire signs in the zodiac, that they give us that a little bit of that boost of confidence. They remind us of who we are. They remind us of the fire within us. Venus and Mars coming together in a trine is also so good for relationships, partnerships, um, collaboration. So this is why I said earlier, this is a great week for signing contracts because there is something about the balance of feminine and masculine, right? Think beyond just romantic relationships. Think beyond just man and a woman. Think about the energy of the masculine and feminine within you, how that's available to us collectively via this trine, and that creates synchronistic energy. It creates frequency between you and others, especially if this has been building up to say, you know what, it finally feels good to sign this with you. It finally feels good to collaborate with you. Let's have this conversation. Let's begin planning, right? When it comes to romantic relationships, lovely week for any day of the week, date night, especially as we lead into the weekend, such beautiful energy. Do something fun, something active, go dancing, go hiking, try something new. I love that fire energy that I think is just going to keep us going, excited throughout the week because remember, it's active all week long. Okay. Then also on Thursday, May 22nd, the Sun in Gemini creates a sextile to Neptune in Aries. Here is another aspect of imagination, of a lot of creativity, of a lot of new ideas, of being open to doing things in a different way. If any of you out there are launching something, thinking of launching something, for any creatives out there, this week is such a great week for that. To don't overthink it. Gemini and Aries, especially when they come together, it's not about overthinking it. It's not about perfection. It's about creativity. It's about letting that energy out, right? It's about exploration. It's about trying new things and seeing what happens, seeing where it lands. But what I've come to find is that when we have a week like the one that's ahead, where we have really supportive energy and something is not perfect or is not exactly how we want it to be, but we go for it and we kind of build something as we go, we come to realize, oh man, this is really great. This is really great. And if I was going to do all of the other things I thought that I needed to do, it was probably going to ruin the essence of this creative energy that just wants to come out, right? Sun in Gemini sextile Neptune in Aries. Let's say you're not a creative, you're not like a content creator or anything like that. It's just in your day to day. This is beautiful energy for you to kind of channel, to journal, to visualize, really great energy to be amongst people that you just feel joyful and light with. That's what this energy is about, feeling light, feeling joyful, feeling excited. So surround yourself with people that bring that out in you because remember, Gemini wants to communicate. And there's something about Neptune in Aries that is there's going to be a lot of this. I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. We're moving out of the energy of Neptune and Pisces that was like I want to go to the depths of the ocean of myself and of others and understand the subconscious. And Neptune in Aries is like, okay, I had 11, 12 years of that. Can we just have a little bit of fun right now? Now, that can lead to a bit of like dissociating. It can lead to a little bit of avoiding responsibility. See how you feel, right? I'm not here to tell you what to do, what not to do, but that's probably not the best way to take advantage of this energy. Okay, so there is a lot of energy, powerful energy, beautiful energy that is all just all together that weekend of May 23rd through the 25th. So we start with the sun in Gemini creating a trine to Pluto in Aquarius, technically on Saturday, May 24th, but this is active Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I would say even into the first half of next week. This is powerful. This is the sun in Gemini saying, I'm showing up with a different mindset, right? I am showing up. The sun represents our identity, our ego, our vitality, how we show up in the world. And Gemini, which is the sign of the mind, of cognitive thought, of how we perceive ourselves, right? I'm showing up with a different mindset to my life, trying Pluto in Aquarius, and that feels empowering. This is different for me. This is transformative for me. And when I show up for myself in this way, I create a different path for my future. I create a different outcome, a different outlook, because we have to remember that we are the ultimate authority in our lives. Saturn in Aries is really going to teach us that. And the sun coming together in a trine, a favorable, powerful aspect to Pluto, the planet of personal empowerment, of transformation, of power in air signs. This is tapping into our inner genius. So if any of you out there have any presentations, if you want to reach out or begin researching, how can I, get myself up on stages more, right? I want to be a speaker. Um, this entire week leading up to that Saturday, that powerful energy, especially after Tuesday and as we get closer to the weekend, the trine to that Pluto in Aquarius is only building. So there's this energy of feeling empowered, feeling confident. My mindset is right. My mindset is strong. I know who I am. I know what I have to offer. There's incredible power there. Sun in Gemini, trine Pluto in Aquarius in a lower expression. I would say that this can be having way too many thoughts, way too many decisions, and not deciding on one of them, and feeling like I want to do this really big thing, but here's 100 reasons why I can't. Here are 100 reasons why I'm not qualified. Here are 100 reasons why that's only meant for other people and not for me. Switch that mindset, because the astrology of this moment in time, regardless of all of the changes going on, is here to support us into this new collective consciousness that wants us to feel empowered within ourselves, but it starts within. It starts with the connection to our soul, with connecting to our intuition, allowing it to guide us. It starts with becoming very, very much aware of our thoughts. How am I speaking to myself? What am I declaring for my life? I think that's another thing that this Gemini season is going to make clear, the power of our words and how they actually construct our external 3D reality. And whatever it is that you're seeing being reflected back to you from your thoughts and your words, it's all beautiful information, because it's letting you know, perfect, you're on a great path. Or maybe there are some things, some thoughts, some communication that I need to change within myself, with others, with the universe, to create a different reality, right? Okay. Also, on May 24th, we have Mercury in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. A Mercury-Uranus conjunction are aha moments. They are news, like unexpected news. I think in this way, I think considering everything else happening in the sky, it's most likely good news. This is energy Mercury at Uranus, where perhaps you don't have much of a filter when you speak, so be mindful of your words. But on the other hand, you don't have a filter when you speak. So your words and what you have to share is no longer being filtered through an old mindset, is no longer being filtered through old fears, through old limitations, is being filtered through the Sun and Pluto connection, right? The empowered you, the open to possibilities you. Universe, show me how good it can get. Show me a different way. Let me see what I am not capable of seeing on my own. You have to keep in mind that we are never not connected. We are never not aligned to source. We are always connected, always aligned. What shifts how we move through life is our awareness of that connection in the present moment. Oh, that's right. The universe, God, source hears me now. I don't know how to look at XYZ. I don't know which direction to take. Please help me. Please guide me, right? Gratitude is a really big thing. If you don't know how to change your mindset, if you don't know how to do mindset work, if you don't know how to listen to your intuition, if there's something in there that you still need to work through, lean into gratitude because gratitude creates beautiful emotion that is the closest feeling of connecting to source itself. And it also allows you to play a different, a different loop, different words in your mind. Gratitude is a powerful tool. And so Mercury coming together with Uranus is Mercury, thoughts, communication, Uranus that liberate you, that set you free. I think this week is also going to be, like I said, a week for good news for certain people. Certain things are going to be finalized. Contracts are probably going to, especially if you've been waiting on something, they're probably going to move forward this week. This is a great week. And I keep saying this is a great week because all of these things are happening on the weekend, but it doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of them. This is a great week to, if you want to go after certain things for yourself, by all means, reach out, send DMs, send emails, make phone calls, make connections for yourself. Believe in miracles, right? Okay. Also, on May 24th, Saturn enters the sign of Aries and remains there just for a few months before it retrogrades back into Pisces. Saturn in Aries will bring structure to that Neptune in Aries, right? So Neptune in Aries is saying, I want to be creative. I want to dare to do new things, to talk about new things, to imagine new things, to create new things. And Saturn coming in there, right, is saying, okay, what are you going to do about it? What's your structure? What's your plan? How do you get serious and practical about this? On a more personal level, Saturn in Aries is about personal responsibility. Personal Aries responsibility, Saturn. Look, we just came out of a Venus retrograde, right? And I say just because people are still working through some of those lessons. So it's not that it's there or very much alive still. We're just still processing some of those lessons. And whenever Venus goes retrograde, it highlights a ton around codependency, remaining in relationships that don't feel aligned to our soul, remaining in relationships that diminish us, remaining in relationships out of a sense of obligation, right? All codependent things. We're coming out of it. We see our relationships differently, hopefully. Situations or themes around, I should say, codependence came up. Saturn in Aries is saying, this codependent stuff, we're going to put healthier boundaries. And it's going to focus on, we don't place boundaries in our lives for others, we place them for ourselves, right? So what does that look like? If at any given point you find yourself, I don't know, not wanting to go somewhere because for whatever reason you don't want to go somewhere, but there's a part of you that says, "Oh, but I should go." And there's an obligation. You place that boundary of not going for yourself to honor how you feel, and it's okay if you don't go to the thing you feel obligated to go to for an array of reasons that really have nothing to do with you. That's a silly example. It's very simple, but it's very true. Saturn in Aries is going to bring back the power to self through healthy boundaries for self that will allow you to connect with others, not in a codependent way, but in a way that feels genuine. Doesn't it feel so much better to go somewhere and be around people you actually want to go and be with and actually want to be around versus feeling like it's an obligation? Saturn in Aries is going to check things like that. And I think that's a great thing. So, for anyone who does things out of obligation a lot, this is going to be a transit where you're going to learn a lot, right? And you'll have 2.5 years. Saturn remains in Aries for a few months. In 2025, it retrogrades back into Pisces, finally goes back into Aries in 2026, and remains there through mid 2028. Saturn in Aries is going to teach us to create a solid foundation, Saturn, for this new chapter, new beginning of our life, Aries. This is also going to check our impatience, our impulsivity. Why is there impatience? Why is there impulsivity? What is the energy behind that? How does it actually want to be expressed? How can you give it a healthy container? Saturn in Aries is going to be really an interesting transit, I think, for all of us, because I think especially the codependence piece, I think especially around relationships, I think there's going to be an emphasis in the individual because Saturn in Aries is going to create a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And this is all about I am who I am. I am my own individual first before I am someone else's something, right? Um, that's a healthy thing. Because when you have two whole people or however many people whole within themselves, you stop expecting the other to fulfill something within you that only you have the responsibility to fulfill for yourself. And from there, when two people come together, for instance, you create something much more powerful, something with with a much more sustainable foundation that can withstand the test of time. Saturn in Aries is also I think it's also going to bring a lot of confidence out in people. If you work well with Saturn, which is being committed to things, showing up, being consistent, being responsible with your life, with the things you know you need to be responsible with, if you do well with adulting in general, I think Saturn in Aries is just going to make you that much more confident. I know that in traditional astrology, or just astrology in general, Saturn is known to not be a great sign. Or Aries is not a great sign to be in Saturn. I think we will feel those aspects, but as someone who has a stellium in the third house of how I look at life, I always look at the positive because I genuinely believe that everything is happening for us and not to us, right? That's kind of annoying for some people, but that's okay. Okay, on Sunday, May 25th, Mercury, the planet of communication, cognitive thought, perception of self, perception of the world, enters its home sign of Gemini. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be so interesting because on the one hand, again, Mercury is in one of its home signs, Gemini. Lots of curiosity, lots of communication, lots of ideas. Well, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, maybe this and maybe that. You gotta just bring it down. You gotta just bring it down a little bit, right? Because when Mercury enters Gemini, it immediately creates a sextile to Saturn newly entered in Aries. Mercury and Saturn. Okay, I have all of these ideas. Saturn is saying, okay, can you choose one? Can you deduce it to like two? Can we work on one first and then the other? It's okay to be excited. It's a great new beginning, right? If you come across a ton of possibilities or a ton of opportunities, right? Okay, be mindful of burnout. Mercury in Gemini wants to say yes to everything because it wants to experience everything. It wants to gain knowledge from everything. It wants to talk to everyone at the everything. Saturn in Aries is saying it's only one you. Remember, we create boundaries for our well-being, right? So I think that the amplification of air and fire energy, especially as the year continues to move on, I think it will lead some of us to burnout. I say us because I have I have found myself in burnout one too many times and I don't realize it until I'm in it, which is why, for instance, like a few, last month or 2 months ago when I was doing faceless videos, I had to say to myself, if I don't do this in this way, I will burn out again. And I don't want to burn out right now. And I really can't because I have a lot of things to do. So when we are there, it can be because we kind of lose track of time. It's like we're having so much fun, we're saying yes to all the things, and then we're like, I am depleted, exhausted. The other possibility for burnout is that you are taking on too much responsibility on yourself, and it's not even fully yours. You're not delegating well, you're not asking for help, right? Remember, the nodes and the nodes will be activated. North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. South Node in Virgo has the tendency of, I'll do it all. I'll do it all myself. I've got it, right? No, you don't. Nobody has it all. Nobody's got it all. Everyone needs help in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, it does lead to burnout. So, Mercury in Gemini, sextile Saturn in Aries, is about minding. How do I delegate? How do I ask for help? Because on the other hand, this is also great for, again, agreements, again, another aspect of great for contracts, which leads us into the last week of May. So keep that in mind. Serious conversations that don't feel heavy, but it's definitely like, oh, we're agreeing to something over time. I like this. It feels good to have this agreement. It feels good to sign this contract with you. It feels good to shake hands on this. Um, so I think it's a great week ahead. I think, again, lots of possibilities. Mind your mindset, take action, be present. And if it's just one of those weeks for you where nothing in particular happens, be grateful, be present, allow the ease of this energy to bring new ideas to you, to activate your imagination in a great way. It is a great week if you believe in scripting, right? In the manifestation technique of scripting, which is writing what you desire in the present tense as if it's already done. That has been a technique that has worked for me for a very long time. Do that. Do that. I just this last week, I found a journal entry from a scripting entry that I wrote in 2023 about a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment with a view, all of the amenities that I was looking for, a ton of natural light, really big windows and finding that within a certain price range. That was the thing, finding it within a certain price range. And that is exactly what this apartment is that my partner and I just moved into in March. The miracle there is finding it within the price range that we found it in, because it has everything that I scripted in that journal entry as true and done. The price that we pay in rent is a little bit more, but it's within that range. And the way that I remembered is that I took my dog on a walk and I thought, wait a minute, I wrote that. So when I got back from the walk, I looked for the journal and I found the entry. And sure enough, it was an entry that I wrote 2 years ago. That has happened to me several times. I script something of what I desire, and, you know, sometime later, I find that it happened exactly as I scripted it. I share this with you because we are more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. We are more powerful than the society, the system that we live in wants us to believe. And so there is something about putting pen to paper and writing the things that we desire as if they're already done, and then letting it go, letting it happen when it's meant to happen. And that is something truly magical. And when we do it enough, when we do it enough times, we realize, there's something else here at play. I am much more powerful than I give myself credit for. And if I get distracted, I'm going to continue forgetting that. And that is not why I came here. So I invite you to, at the very least, if there's nothing else happening, that you take this week to script out in present tense what you want to manifest in your life, because the energy is supportive of it. Okay. As always, thank you so much. May this be of service. So much love to you, and I will talk to you next week.